The state which keeps India's flag flying high on the global scenario is Maharashtra. Maharashtra is blessed with serene blue oceans, never-ending mountain ranges, the historically rich forts built on them, caves laden with ancient art, and the evergreen nature. But Maharashtra, which is full of natural beauty and greenery, has for some reason not been able to take proper care of its farms and the farmers. The live example of this is the high number of suicides committed by farmers in the Vidarbha region. Vidarbha is synonymous with huge areas of fertile land covered with cotton and soybean crops that dominate the yield. But even then, farmer suicides are a regular occurrence.
Since mid-60s, we embraced two green revolution technologies, which comprise seeds of high-yielding varieties, the chemical fertilizers, the pesticides, which require the money for the procurement from the market. If the nature is not favorable, the monsoon is not favorable, and if the farmers don't get the proper yield, then they are unable to repay. And so when he is unable to repay, he commits the suicides.
Not only have the farms and the farmers suffered losses due to new inventions in farming, but the use of chemicals and fertilizers on the crops have had an adverse effect on the health of the people.
During the rainy season, the chemical fertilizers mix with the rainwater and they are leached to the water sources like rivers and reservoirs, and then that pollutes the potable water, and it is no more useful for the drinking purpose. Then the chemical pesticides, they infest the food, and when you eat the food, the stresses of the pesticides get stored in the fats of the body. That is another reason. In the food chain, the chemical pesticides lead to entering into the food chain and the whole life system endangered.
To save the farms and farmers from this trap, Dr. Tarak Kate, a plant scientist from Vidarbha, who has been selflessly working towards rural development with the help of other committed scientists and social workers, established an organization by the name Dhara Mitra, the Friends of Earth.
We had interactions with almost farmers in 9 to 10 villages initially. We discussed with them that with stopping all the external inputs, use of external inputs, and using local resources, although the productivity can come down, how margin of profits will increase. When they were convinced about, we took them to the successful organic farmers, and then we arranged demonstration into their villages. I remember that they started with 1 acre, and at the end of 3rd or 4th acre, they went to 3 or 4 acres. And that was their success.
With the use of simple and appropriate technology and assistance from 7 charitable organizations, 4,000 acres of land spread over 4 districts of Western Vidarbha accepted the technique of sustainable agriculture.
We could see that definitely the cost of production went down, definitely the indebtedness actually got reduced, and because we work with a group of the farmers, the group has a psychological effect. It's a strength. But if there is an individual farmer and he is indebted, then he is psychologically depressed, and that leads to suicides. In those villages where we were working, definitely, and especially in these groups, definitely there was no suicide committed by the farmers.
While implementing this project of sustainable agriculture, along with the charitable organizations, the local women's groups also joined in huge numbers. While working with these women, Dhara Mitra identified a number of health problems affecting them. The most common among these health complaints is, incidentally, one of the most severe problems occurring across all sections of women in rural India. It is anemia, that is a result of malnutrition.
More than 72% of the children in the country and more than 50% of the women in the country, they suffer from malnutrition.
ताप येताना मी हातपाय गळल्यासारखे लागतात.
असं थकल्यासारखं वाटतं, चक्कर येत होते, कमजोरी वाटत होती.
ॲनिमिया म्हणजे रक्तक्षय. आपल्या रक्तामध्ये जे हिमोग्लोबिनचं प्रमाण आहे ते साधारणतः पुरुषामध्ये 13 ते 15 ग्राम असते आणि स्त्रियांमध्ये 11 ते 13 ग्राम असते. तर याची जे प्रमाण जर का कमी झालं तर त्याला आपण रक्तक्षय म्हणतो.
Here, Dhara Mitra took the next important step to actually quantify the severity and extent of this problem. The blood samples of all these women were checked, and there was a shocking revelation.
आपल्या प्राथमिक आरोग्य केंद्रामध्ये लोहगळ्याचा पुरवठा हा गरोदर माता आणि स्तनदा मातांना केला जातो आणि त्यासाठी आपल्याकडे जेवढ्या गरोदर माताची नोंद असते त्या प्रमाणात आपल्याकडे जिल्हा स्तरावरून पुरवठा होतो. त्यामुळे त्या सर्व गरोदर मातांना आणि आपण स्तनदा मातांना त्या लोहगोळ्याचा पुरवठा करतो. परंतु सर्वसामान्य जनतेसाठी नियमित पुरवठा करण्यासाठी आपल्याकडे साठा उपलब्ध असत नाही.
The approach undertaken by the government of providing iron pills will not work. If at all we have to combat malnutrition, then we have to take the dietary approach, and which means that we have to enhance the diet which will be rich in minerals, basic minerals, especially the iron.
The issue was serious, but Dharamitra came out with an effective and impressive solution to tackle this issue.
What we have decided, why not use the whatever space is available in front of the house or in the backyard of the house for cultivation of a variety of different kinds of vegetables.
Ghatanji Taluka in the Yavatmal district, once known to produce white gold, that is, high quality cotton, was selected to implement the project of kitchen gardens. Here, tribal communities like Gaon and Kolam and the other backward communities have sustained for generations by preserving their traditions and making the best of nature's gifts. As Dharamitra's techniques of sustainable agriculture had already been spread and adopted in this taluka, there was no doubt that the project of kitchen gardens would be well received by the people here.
There was a need of building up a team, and the team which will comprise of the motivator. The role of the motivator was to convince the people. The second was actually to impart training to the women, and third was to provide a scientific base for developing kitchen garden. So it was a package of, say, manpower comprising motivators, the trainers and the scientists.
These teams arranged meetings for all women across villages. They made these women realize the importance of the project of kitchen gardens.
गावांमध्ये कार्यक्रम सुरू करायच्या आधी महिलांसोबत चर्चा करण्यात आली आणि महिलांचे प्रश्न समजून घेण्यात आले.
मला सगळ्यात थक्क करणारे होते की दिवसभर श्रम करून आलेल्या बायका पण अतिशय उत्साहाने मीटिंग्समध्ये भाग घ्यायच्या. म्हणजे दिवसाच्या शेवटी थकलेल्या अवस्थेत शहरी बायकासुद्धा मला असं वाटतं असा प्रतिसाद देणार नाहीत.
All these women were collectively at Dharamitra's laboratory in Wardha for the cultivation of kitchen gardens through practical demonstrations.
Why we avoid conducting training in the villages? Because there is a lot of distraction. The women cannot concentrate on the training properly. So we prefer to take them, bring them here at the campus. Here they stay for a couple of days. The first day is devoted on imparting them theoretical inputs. And the second day, they are directly involved in practice, which give them quite confidence.
When the process of steaming starts with demonstrations, we have given them some instructions for steaming. There should be roads, should be place to work, place to sit. We create a place in the shape of a key where they can sit and work. And after that, some manure is put, which would be the food for microorganisms, by which these microorganisms will grow and make nutritive mass available for the trees or the plants. After that, seeds are spread all over it. First, of vegetables with a short height, like leafy vegetables, then a little higher than that, like fruit vegetables, and even higher than that for lady's finger, thru, maize vegetables, and then where there are two tall trees, creepers are planted in between them, and then when there is the part to grow, there all tubers are planted. After the plantation is done, they are given a covering. Then it can have any kind of garbage, whether dry or green. Both are okay, and with this, the plantation is covered. There are two main reasons for covering: to maintain the dampness, and the other is microorganisms are most active in the dark. To prepare manure, we tell them to prepare small shake pits where 4 sticks have to be pierced, and these sticks have to be tied around with a sari, cloth or a netlon. With such objects, the pit is prepared. One pit has to be filled and it has to have garbage on top of it. Cow dung water is then sprinkled on it, And after the first pit is done, the second one has to be taken up for filling. The entire manure is ready, and then we can use this for the kitchen gardens. Then it has to be given a tonic for its growth, which includes 1 kg of cow dung, 1 liter cow urine, 10 grams of jaggery. Add flour to it, add soil to it, and then fill the pot with 10 liters of water. It is ready in 4 days, and then this tonic is to be used on the kitchen gardens once a month, which leads to faster growth of trees and plants. Then there is a simple method that is taught to them to prevent insect attacks. It is to mix the neem leaves in cow urine. Let it decay. It takes about 15 days, and after it has decayed, take the essence of the same and mix 10% of this essence and then spray it on the plants. As anemia is a serious health problem threatening rural India, Government of India's Department of Science and Technology, along with Mumbai-based Sir Dorabji Tata Trust, took up the entire responsibility to provide the required financial assistance for this project.
Jamshedji Tata Trust is one of the allied trusts of Sir Dorabji Tata Trust and allied trust. So we decided to work on nutrition. Basically, our thinking was to tackle this issue through agricultural route. So we decided to support, in addition to Dharamitra, 3 other organizations in central parts of India, mainly working in the tribal areas.
Now was the time to actually implement the project. Among all the women who participated wholeheartedly in the project, Rama, a girl from Ghatanji's Shiroli village, had taken a keen interest throughout. She had realized whatever was happening was for the well-being of her family. This is the story of the same girl, Rama.
माझं नाव रमा महेंद्र मून आहे आणि माझे 3 मुलं आहे आणि आम्ही 2 जण आहे. 3ही मुलं माझे शाळेत जातात आणि आम्ही दोघं पण मजुरीला जातो. माझे पती मजुरीचा पैसा घरी येऊ देत नाही. आर्थिक परिस्थितीमुळे आम्ही 100 रुपयाची जरी मजुरी आली तरी आम्ही करायला तयार होतो. संध्याकाळची डेली सर्व्हिस होती त्यांची दारू पिण्याची.
दारूच्या नशेमध्ये म्हणजे भक्कमच मार ठोक वगैरे, लेकराकडे लक्ष नाही, आपल्या घराकडे लक्ष नाही.
पण मी जीवाचं काही करू नाही शकले. बाहेर सुद्धा 3ही पोरायला घेऊन राहू शकले. आई वडील इथंच राहत होते, पण त्यांची कोणाचीही मदत नव्हती. सासू सासऱ्यांची सुद्धा नव्हती आणि बाकीची कोणाचीच नव्हती. एक टाइम जेवण करायचं आणि मग तसंच कामाला जायचं. त्याच्यामुळे मग गळणपणा जास्त यायची.
रमा एक आमची खूप गळलेली बाई आणि तिची आर्थिक परिस्थिती खूप हालावलेली होती. त्यामुळे मग मी तिच्यावर सतत लक्ष ठेवायची.
द्वारकाताई नेहमी सांगायच्या, तुला बरं नाही का ग, तुझं ब्लड चेकिंग कर. मी सरकारी ग्रामीण रुग्णालयामध्ये गेली आणि तिथं ब्लड चेकिंग केलं तर माझं ब्लड 6 पॉइंट होतं.
पण मी तिला खूप हिंमत दिली आणि काही होत नाही असं सांगितलं. या बिमारीने काही आपण मरत नाही आहे.
द्वारकाताईंनी सांगितलं मला, म्हणे भाजीपाल्याचं प्रमाण जास्त वाढव.
मग तिला मी असं प्रोत्साहित केलं आणि ती म्हणाली की हो ताई, तुम्ही सांगाल तर मी अगदी ऐकेल तुमचं. तर मग असं कर, तू परसबाग लावायला सुरुवात कर.
Following the instructions and procedures of the demonstrations, Rama prepared a 10 by 10 square feet plot near her house for a kitchen garden.
हे पूर्ण खडकच आहे ना आमच्या घरी, त्याच्यामुळे आम्हाला पाण्याचा खूप दुष्काळ पडतो. तर आम्ही काय केलं, मग इथं खूपच माती आणून टाकली, बाहेरची माती आणून टाकली. त्याच्यानंतर आम्ही प्लॉट तयार केला.
धावूनिया सगळ्यांचे कामे करी, भाविकांच्या मेळ्यात दिसला हरी. शेतावरती मजूर जातो त्यांच्या सवे, भाकर भाजी खाऊन राखी गात असे गोडवे. जात पातही कधी न पुसली, मोहित प्रेमावरी, भाविकांच्या मेळ्यात दिसला हरी.
Rama's desire and dreams had started to take real good shape. The kitchen garden had started to bloom with the same vibrancy and positivity with which she had sown the seeds.
माझी परसबाग खूप फुललेली आहे. आणि मला खूप आनंद झालेला आहे परसबागेचा.
Rama's barren courtyard had soon become wonderfully green, full with green leafy vegetables, fruits, and other vegetables adding to the beauty. Rama's family, which could not afford food even once a day because of extreme poverty, was now relishing the fresh and poison-free vegetables cultivated by them with their own hard work and persistent efforts.
माझ्या भाजीपाल्याचा खर्च फार कमी झालेला आहे. पालेभाज्या खाल्ल्या आणि माझं ब्लड एकदम 13वर गेलं आहे. तेव्हापासून माझी चक्कर येणं बंद झाली आहे, मला थकवा येणं कमी झालेला आहे आणि मला गळणपणासुद्धा कमी झालेली आहे आणि त्याच्यामुळं माझा दवाखान्याचा तरी खर्च कमी झालेला आहे.
There was a new sunrise with a lot of positivity in Rama's life. Her alcohol-addicted husband, who had ignored his family, came back to them with a promise of never touching alcohol again.
आपली रमा कुठंतरी जात आहे तर आपल्याला काही सुधारावं लागेल याच्यासाठी त्यांनी शपथ घेतली आहे आणि दारूचा पैसासुद्धा त्यांनी माझ्या जवळ आणून द्यायची कोशिश करत आहे आणि आमचा घर खर्च खूप चांगला आनंदात चालू आहे.
While preparing various dishes from these vegetables, it was important to maintain their nutrition value, or else the expected results couldn't have been achieved.
त्यांना आम्ही ड्रमस्टिक्सच्या पानांच्या भाज्या, नंतर परोठे हे प्रत्यक्ष करून दाखवलं. इतर पालेभाज्या नुसतं भाजीच्या स्वरूपात नाही तर भाकरीच्या पिठात घालून त्याच्या हिरव्या भाकरी, पोळ्या, नंतर वरणात घालायचं, नंतर भातामध्ये देखील घालायचं. खरंच बायकांनी आपल्या आहारातून हे सर्व पदार्थ वापरायला सुरुवात केली आहे.
उन्हाळ्यात आम्ही भाजीपाला का नाही लावत, कारण इथं पाण्याचा खूप दुष्काळ आहे आणि हिवाळ्यात जे भाजीपाला होतं हे आम्ही सुकवून ठेवतो आणि मग उन्हाळ्यामध्ये खातो.
Along with Rama, all other women who had participated in this training program of the Kitchen Garden Project grew these wonderful kitchen gardens in their respective courtyards.
द्वारकाताई आल्या, आम्हाला परसबागेबद्दल सांगितलं. आम्ही तेव्हापासून परसबाग सुरू केली. घरी परसबाग लावल्यामुळे जास्तीत जास्त पालेभाज्या खाण्यात येत आहे. आधी दवाखान्याचा खर्च खूप होता, आता काहीच नाही.
ते काकू आल्या शेजारच्या, त्याने आम्हाला सांगितलं का भाजीपाला लावायचा बा. त्याने सांगितल्या पद्धत आम्ही लावला. खाणं चालू केल्यानंतर काहीच त्रास नाही, बरं वाटतं थोडा तब्येतीला बी.
हा भाजीपाला मी माझ्या घरी लागवड केली आणि तो भाजीपाला आता रोज आमच्या घरी खायला मिळतो. केव्हा भाजीपाला गावात मिळत नव्हता, खेडं गाव आहे आमचं आणि भाजीसुद्धा खूप महाग होती. आता तो पैसा सुद्धा वाचत आहे.
Because of this kitchen garden project, the yield of vegetables was of a very high quality with a great nutritive value. The crops or vegetables which were produced in extra were given away to the needy free of cost, or sometimes were even sold at a decent price.
या जागेमध्ये कारली, पालक, टमाटे, वांगी, हिरवी मिरची, सांबार इत्यादी पिके मी घेतो आणि ते आम्ही स्वतः घरी वापरतो खाण्यासाठी. उरलेली भाजी आम्ही गावामध्ये विक्रीसाठी नेतो. भाजी आले, आलू, वांगे, कांदे, टमाटे, कोबी, मिरची, सांबार.
It was close to 2 years since this project had been implemented. Now it was time for Dhara Mitra to introspect, check and analyze whether this project was successful and in sync with the objectives when it was launched.
We could conduct a study in terms of, say, monitoring level of the red blood corpuscles in the blood, and we found that the HB count got enhanced, and we could definitely say that especially for the 1/3 of the population we selected for this test, they were just brought out of the anemic condition. I don't say that all of the women actually were out of the anemia. It is not easy to get rid of anemia within a couple of days, a couple of years of intervention. It takes a longer period. We surely say that the RBC count actually gone up.
In the initial stages, all those who owned these kitchen gardens were provided seeds and other essential things free of cost. But now, some women from the villages have been appointed specially to preserve these seeds and supply them as required.
मला एक नाही का बियाणाचा छंद होता, बियाण गोळा करायचा आणि मी बाईक महिलांना देत होती बियाण. नंतर ते गोळा करू असं मी खूप पुरवठा केला. नंतर मग बायाले मग असं पाकिट तयार केले. पाकिट मग असे पैशाने विकत द्यायला लागली. आम्ही असं वाळू घालतो आणि त्याच्या असं गोमित्र लावून असं आम्ही पॅकिंग करून ठेवून देतो बियाणं.
This project that was started with 300 families of 9 villages is now being successfully run for the benefit of about 2,000 families from 30 different villages. In this entire process, Sir Dorabji Tata Trust has been a very strong pillar in the project's success.
Kitchen Garden project has actually developed a model for unirrigated tracts in the central India, especially tribal parts of India. That's the main achievement, getting developed into a kind of model which is self-sustainable.
Some for preserving their health, some for their own food requirements, whereas some for making a living and an added source of income. All these women are growing kitchen gardens. Moreover, several schools from nearby villages have started to grow kitchen gardens in their premises.
हिरव्या भाज्या रोज खाई, हिरव्या भाज्या रोज खाई.
It won't be wrong to say that the inclusion of nutritive and poison-free vegetables in the diets of school children has ensured that not only will the future generation be healthy, but it will also be health conscious.
I am completely satisfied about the success of this program because through the intervention we made, we could reach about 1,800 to 1,900 families, the rural families which were suffering from the malnutrition. I could also see that there is a national importance of this program. Based on our success, the Hindu, the national daily, actually published an article on the attributes of the whole program. Down to Earth, which is a prestigious magazine, also highlighted our work. I now foresee that how I can go to the different villages in the country and then narrate our experiences to them and also arrange training programs for them. I also want to go to the local government bodies or state level bodies to share our experiences with them so that they can incorporate such programs in their regular program meant for the villages.